Okay, so this next one. Now this one I think,
yes.
other than the opal from
yes.
today's special, is one of the most interesting,
yes.
historically interesting stones.
Yes.
Because it's got this crazy kind of story behind it.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
Well, first of all, for me, I'm hard to surprise. I've been in the gem business a long time. I'm gonna show you some things later this hour that, quite frankly, 2 years ago, I didn't even know existed. So that's kind of where we are with this thing. I've sold virtually every color of garnet that you can.
Right.
And then I found one that I had never seen before. And that always blows.
Now, when did you find it?
Where?
When?
Oh, it was about 9 months ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was about 9 months ago. And and I hadn't visited this mine yet. And
also, it was a new mine for you.
It was a new mine for me. It was in Sri Lanka. And it was the first thing when I looked at it, I thought, this looks like imperial garnet, which is an incredibly rare stone. Okay. I mean, imperial topaz, sorry.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, I said, this looks like imperial topaz to me. It had that color, it had that really unique color that's impossible to find and impossible to get without paying a premium price. And then I found out it was a garnet, which made me even more excited, because the thing that I will tell you about every single garnet, and garnet there's a whole group of garnet gemstones. And I talk about this in my book. There's like Mozambique garnet, there's almandine garnet, there is Tsavorite garnet, there's grossular green garnet, there's a demantoid garnet, there is spessartite garnet, and then there's Hessonite garnet. This is Hessonite. So it's already one of the more rare members of that garnet family. But like all the garnets, zero treatment. And I know people at home might be saying, Paul, why is that such a big deal? Because 95 or greater of all percent of the gems in the world are treated in some way, shape, or form to improve their color. It's not considered bad. In fact, most of them are approved by the Gemological Institute of America, and they're considered permanent treatments. Even an emerald is generally oiled, infused with oil, to reduce the appearance of cracks and fissures. Garnets have zero treatment. Everything that you see in every garnet you've ever seen is completely natural, untreated.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Which is amazing.
Now,
so we're going to show you, yeah.
And we have two choices in this. I want to make sure everybody understands this too. You're picking the main garnet, and then it's going to be accented with either citrine or you did the rhodolite, which is lovely. And why did you choose those two accent colors?
Well, first of all, I love multicolors.
Yeah.
When I talk about my most, popular items over the last number of years, they're either something like Sleeping Beauty or the opal, or they're a stone that has different colors in it. I like to give you more versatility. The more ways that you can wear your piece of jewelry, whether it's lengthening the chain, as we talked about with the extender, whether it's having multiple colors in there, whether it's just something that's so darn affordable, like the sneak peek that I spent an hour on. Sometimes the colors just speak to me.
Yeah.
So it's like the first thing I do, and I talked about this, I think, when we launch a show where I'm talking boringly on a tape. I talk about, where does my inspiration come from?
Sure.
When I'm designing, it always starts with the stone. The stone is the star. So in this case, I had something that was spectacular, but how do I upgrade that? How do I make that even more interesting? Well, by adding different colors, because I don't want you to think, oh, that's a nice citrine. This is a garnet. Right. This is a very, very rare, very few people in the world will get the chance to own a golden color
garnet
of Hessonite garnet.
Most likely, the vast majority of people have never heard of it.
Or seen it.
Or seen it, for sure.
Yeah.
Just, here you go. If you want the rhodolite, that is, I have less than 100 left in the rhodolite. So it's the garnet with the rhodolite, and that is in 5 through 10. Then here's your citrine, going back to the Hessonite. And I do have the matching bracelets. I should have another one floating around here. Oh, there it is, thank you. I have the matching bracelets, which they're beautiful too, stunning bracelet. Great. And we also have the matching earring to go with it. Do I have another earring floating around somewhere? Yes, no, maybe? Because this is the rhodolite, right?
Now, once again, when you're talking about the garnet group,
gotcha.
And there's a lot of different choices within the garnet group, that's why when you look at, let's say for garnet, you say what's a specific, or the refractive index of garnet, you'll see a range in there, like from like 1.8 1.89 to 1.92, something like that. So, but that means this is going to sparkle more than most every other yellow stone except the yellow zircon or yellow diamond.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So,
you know what I think is interesting? The lore behind it.
Oh, yeah.
That is really cool.
well, first of all,
Because I'm kind of into that,
no,
you know?
I love folklore and legends. I do. And I think it's fascinating. I think sometimes we laugh at them. Like, for example, they say, folklore says that amethyst can prevent drunkenness.
Right.
I can guarantee you that's not true. I've tested it extensively.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work. But the truth is, these stories have a reason.
Right.
They do. And someday you and I will do, another one of my favorite stones is labradorite.
I love
Someday you and
labradorite,
I will
yeah.
do a show, and I will show you a piece of rough, and then I'll turn it over after it was cut open. And you realize that we laugh at these folklore and legends right now, but you realize back in the 1800s, if you saw a stone glowing,
Right.
you're going to think, it must have superpowers.
Right, right.
It must. Let me put it on
Right.
here and heal my headache.
Right. But it is. I mean, of all the stones, this is a in garnet. They're interesting stories. But I thought the Hessonite was really interesting. I just thought it's got a really great history, actually.
Yeah, and even where it's mined, and when you talk about very, very rich areas, it's really interesting when you get into studying gemstones. Because I thought I'd be bored out of my skull. People thought, well, have you known about gems since birth? Like, no.